I'm Emma, and I thought I knew what love and trust meant, building a simple life with Sam in our little Columbus home, where every creak of the floorboards echoed our shared dreams. But beneath the warmth of our Saturday movie nights and stolen glances, a shadow crept in, unnoticed, until it shattered everything. My heart raced as I saw panic in Sam's eyes, a stranger in the man I thought I knew, and when the pounding on our door echoed like a death knell, I faced a choice that could save us or destroy us. What did I do to protect our world, and at what unthinkable cost? Stick around to find out. Picture this. I'm standing at the edge of our tiny backyard, the late afternoon sun spilling golden streaks across the patchy grass, and I'm holding a chipped mug of chamomile tea that's gone cold in my hands. There's a quiet hum of suburbia around me, distant lawnmowers, the occasional bark of a neighbor's dog, the faint clatter of dishes from inside our little home. I'm Emma, 32 years old, and this sliver of calm outside Columbus, Ohio, is the life I've built with Sam, my husband of 6 years. He's 35, a man carved from hard work and quiet strength, and together we've made something out of not much at all. Our house isn't fancy. Just a modest 2-bedroom with peeling paint on the shutters and a leaky faucet we've been meaning to fix for months. But it's ours, and every creak in the floorboards feels like a story we've written together. I spend my days as a freelance graphic designer, hunched over my laptop in a corner of our living room that I've turned into a makeshift office. My desk is a mess of sketch pads, empty coffee cups, and sticky notes with deadlines I'm always racing to meet. Sam, on the other hand, is a mechanic at a garage a few miles down the road. He comes home with grease smudged on his knuckles and a tired slump in his shoulders. But there's always that gentle smile when he sees me. A smile that's been my anchor since the day we met. We're not rolling in money, not by a long shot. Most months, we're scraping by, juggling bills and dreaming of a vacation we can't quite afford. But we've got each other, and that's always been enough. We're a team, you know? We've got our little rituals that keep us grounded, like our Saturday nights on that worn-out couch in the living room, binge-watching old sci-fi flicks from the 80s. We'll argue over whether the original Star Trek beats Battlestar Galactica, and I'll tease him about his terrible taste in alien invasion plots. He'll just laugh, low and soft, and pull me closer under the frayed blanket we've had forever. There's a warmth in those moments, a kind of unspoken promise that no matter what, we've got this. I can still feel the roughness of his calloused hands when he brushes a strand of hair from my face, or the way we sometimes steal a quiet, heated moment when the world outside fades away. Those stolen glances and whispered nothings, well, let's just say they remind me why I fell for him in the first place, in ways that don't need explicit detail, but leave a fire in my chest all the same. Sam's always been my safe place, the one I trust without question. His quiet nature isn't cold. It's steady, like a rock I can lean on when everything else feels shaky. But lately, I've noticed something's off. It's hard to pin down at first, just a subtle shift in the air between us. It's like a shadow creeping in, small enough to ignore, but persistent enough to nag at the back of my mind. That feeling crystallized on a seemingly ordinary Tuesday morning in late fall. The kind of day where the gray clouds hang so low outside our kitchen window that they seem to press against the glass. I'm sitting at the table, the chipped edge of it digging into my elbow as I sip my coffee, the bitter warmth grounding me while I scroll through a flood of client emails on my laptop. Deadlines loom, designs need tweaking, and I'm half lost in the grind when I catch sight of Sam out of the corner of my eye. He's pacing by the front door, his heavy boots scuffing the worn hardwood, and he's checking his phone every few seconds like he's waiting for the world to end. His hands are shaky, fingers fumbling over the screen, and I can hear him muttering to himself under his breath, words I can't make out, but the tone is sharp, panicked. This isn't him. Sam's the calm in my storm, the one who steadies me when I'm spiraling. Seeing him like this, it's like watching a stranger wearing his skin. I set my mug down with a soft clink, the coffee sloshing a little over the rim, and my stomach tightens with a knot of worry I can't shake. I call out to him, my voice softer than I mean it to be, almost hesitant. "Hey, Sam, you okay over there?" He freezes mid-step, his back to me, and I can see the way his shoulders tense up, like he's been caught doing something he shouldn't. The silence stretches on, heavy and suffocating, before he finally turns around. His face is pale, almost ashen under the dim kitchen light, and his eyes, those steady hazel eyes I've always relied on, dart away from mine as he stammers out a weak, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just tired, that's all." But I don't buy it, not for a second. There's a tremor in his voice, a crack that betrays him, and I'm already on my feet, crossing the room before I even think about it. I reach out, my hand brushing his arm gently, the fabric of his flannel ruff under my fingers. "Come on, talk to me. Something's wrong. I can see it." My words are quiet, but firm, pleading almost, because I can't stand seeing him like this. He hesitates, his jaw tightening, and for a moment I think he's going to brush me off again. But then his face crumples, just for a split second, and it's like a dam breaks. His voice cracks as he starts to speak, low and ragged, like the words are being dragged out of him. "They're coming today, Emma. Debt collectors. For a car. A new car I bought. It's just past noon on that same gray Tuesday, and I'm still reeling from Sam's half-confession about the car and the debt collectors when a sound shatters the uneasy quiet of our home. A loud, aggressive knock on the front door echoes through the house, sharp and jarring, like a gunshot ripping through the stillness. My heart lurches into my throat, and I glance at Sam, who's sitting on the couch, his hands clasped so tight his knuckles are white. He flinches at the sound, his eyes wide with raw panic, and before I can even process it, he grabs my hand, squeezing so hard it stings. His grip is desperate, like I'm the only thing tethering him to the ground. I swallow the lump in my throat and force my voice to stay steady, even though my insides are churning. "Stay here," I tell him, gently prying my hand free. "I've got this." Every step toward the door feels heavier than the last, my pulse hammering in my ears like a drum. My fingers tremble as they hover over the doorknob, and I take a shaky breath, trying to brace myself for whatever's on the other side. When I finally swing the door open, I'm met with two men who look like they've stepped straight out of a bad crime flick. They're both tall, broad-shouldered, and wearing cheap suits that do nothing to hide the menace radiating off them. The older one, who introduces himself as Vince, has a jagged scar slicing across his left cheek, and his eyes are cold, calculating, like he's already sized me up and found me lacking. The younger guy, Tony, has a smirk that sends a shiver down my spine, his gaze lingering in a way that makes my skin crawl. They don't bother with pleasantries. Vince's voice is gravelly, cutting straight to the point. "We're here to see Sam. He owes 15 grand on that car, plus interest. Time's up." My stomach drops like a stone, the number hitting me like a punch. $15,000? How could Sam hide something this big from me? I turn my head slightly, calling over my shoulder with a voice that's shakier than I'd like. "Sam, come here. Now." I hear the scrape of the couch as he stands, his footsteps slow and uneven, like he's dragging himself to his own execution. When he appears beside me, his face is ghostly pale, and he can't even look at these men. He starts stammering out excuses, his voice barely above a whisper, something about unexpected bills and needing more time. But Vince isn't having it. He steps closer, his bulk filling the doorway, and his tone turns sharp, dangerous. "We're not leaving without payment, pal. Or collateral. Your choice." My heart is racing so fast I can barely think, but a fierce protective instinct surges through me. I can't let them do this to him. To us. Without even realizing it, I step forward, putting myself between Sam and these two predators. My voice comes out steadier than I feel as I look Vince square in the eye. Please, just give us a little more time. We'll figure something out, I swear. But my words only draw a harsh, barking laugh from Vince, and Tony mutters under his breath, his smirk widening. There's always other ways to settle a debt, sweetheart. His words slither over me, heavy with implication, and I feel a cold dread settle in my bones. But then, in that split second of desperation, a reckless, unthinkable idea crashes into my mind. My breath catches, and I can feel the weight of what I'm about to do pressing down on me. I lower my voice, forcing myself to hold Vince's gaze, even as my hands tremble at my sides. What if I offered something else? A different kind of price to buy us some time? I don't say it outright, but the meaning hangs in the air, thick and suffocating. I'm offering a piece of myself, a line I never thought I'd cross, to protect what's ours. Vince's scarred brow arches, a flicker of curiosity crossing his face as he studies me with that cold, calculating stare, like he's peeling back every layer of my resolve. I can feel the heat of his gaze, the weight of the decision I've just thrown into the open, and it's like the ground beneath me has turned to quicksand. My chest tightens as Vince's hand reaches out, his fingers wrapping around my arm with a grip that's firm, deliberate, but not yet cruel. He tugs me just a fraction closer, enough that I can smell the faint, stale scent of tobacco on his breath, and my stomach churns with a nauseating mix of dread and defiance. My breath hitches in my throat, caught somewhere between raw fear and this wild, reckless adrenaline that's suddenly pumping through my veins. It's like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing I shouldn't jump, but feeling the pull anyway, driven by some desperate need to shield Sam from the storm I can see brewing in these men's eyes. Behind me, I hear the soft but unmistakable click of the front door as Tony pushes it shut, sealing us off from the outside world. The sound echoes in my ears, sharp and final, like a cage snapping closed. I steal a quick glance over my shoulder at Sam, who's still rooted to the spot on that worn-out couch, his face a mask of horror. His eyes are wide, glassy with shock, and his hands are clenched into fists on his lap. But he doesn't make a sound. Not a word, not a protest. Just this suffocating silence that cuts deeper than any shout could. I want to scream at him to say something, to stop me, to fight for us, but I can't bring myself to meet his gaze for long. The shame is already clawing at me, tearing into my heart with jagged edges. I know I'm crossing a line I can't uncross, stepping into a darkness I never imagined I'd touch. I hate myself for even considering this, for letting it get this far. But what choice do I have? If I don't do this, if I don't play their game, I'm terrified of what they'll take from us instead. Our home, our safety, maybe even Sam himself. This feels like the only way to buy us a sliver of time, to keep the wolves at bay just a little longer. Vince's voice pulls me back to the moment, low and gravelly, dripping with a kind of twisted promise. Let's make this quick and easy, all right? He murmurs, his tone suggestive, laced with an undercurrent that makes my skin crawl. His grip on my arm tightens just enough to remind me who's in control, and he starts guiding me away from the doorway, toward the center of our cramped living room. My legs feel like they're made of lead, each step a betrayal of everything I've ever stood for. But I don't resist. I can't. Not now. Tony circles around us, his boots scuffing against the hardwood with a slow, predatory rhythm. That smirk of his grows wider, more sinister, as he watches me like I'm some kind of prize he's already claimed. The room feels smaller with every passing second, the walls pressing in, the air growing thick with unspoken agreements and the bitter tang of my own fear. I give a faint nod, barely perceptible, but it's enough for them. My hands are trembling at my sides, my fingers curling into my palms so hard I can feel my nails biting into my skin, a sharp sting that grounds me just enough to keep from spiraling completely. The sensory details of this moment sear themselves into my mind, as if my brain is trying to catalog every second of this nightmare. There's a faint whiff of cheap cologne hanging in the air, mixing with the musty smell of our old furniture, and it turns my stomach even more. The floorboards creak under Vince's weight as he shifts closer, each sound a tiny jolt to my frayed nerves. Outside, I can hear the distant rumble of a car passing by on our quiet street, a reminder of the normalcy just beyond these walls, a normalcy I'm so far removed from right now, it might as well be a different world. The gray light filtering through. And then it happens. Vince's grip on my arm shifts, his rough hand sliding to my waist with a force that catches me off guard. He yanks me against him, my body colliding with his solid frame, and before I can even gasp, his lips crash against my neck. It's invasive, unwanted, a searing violation that sends a jolt of pure shock through every nerve in my body. My muscles tense, locking up as if I could somehow push him away with sheer willpower, but I'm frozen in the moment. And yet, amidst the revulsion, there's this confusing rush, a flicker of sensation I didn't expect, a warmth that betrays me in a way I can't comprehend. My mind screams for me to pull back, to fight, but my body doesn't listen. Caught in a storm of conflicting impulses I can't untangle. Before I can even process what's happening, I feel another set of hands on me. Tony steps in, his fingers pressing into my shoulders, turning me slightly as he closes the distance between us. His touch is bold, unapologetic, and I'm trapped between them, their presence overwhelming, suffocating. Their hands roam with a kind of entitled hunger, exploring in ways that make my skin crawl and my heart pound with a mix of dread and something darker, something I'm ashamed to even acknowledge. It's a whirlwind, a blur of movement and sensation. Vince's rough stubble scraping against my skin. Tony's breath hot against my ear as he murmurs something low and suggestive that I try to block out. I'm caught in this twisted dance, my mind numb, drowning in a sea of shame and a strange, forbidden exhilaration that I hate myself for feeling. I don't push them away. I don't scream. I just let it happen, as if I've stepped outside myself, watching this unfold like it's someone else's life being torn apart. Through half-closed eyes, I catch a glimpse of Sam. He's still there on that worn-out couch, motionless, his face a mask of raw, unfiltered pain. His hazel eyes, usually so steady and warm, are glassy now, brimming with tears that threaten to spill over. But he doesn't move. He doesn't speak. He just sits there, watching this betrayal unfold right in front of him, and the weight of his silence crushes me more than anything else in this room. I can see the way his hands tremble in his lap, clench so tight his knuckles are bone white, as if he's fighting every instinct to intervene. Or maybe he's just broken, shattered by what I've done, by the choice I made to protect us in a way that's destroying us instead. My chest aches with guilt, a sharp, stabbing pain that cuts deeper with every second I'm caught in this moment. I want to scream at him to look away, to save himself from this sight, but I can't find my voice. I'm trapped in my own betrayal. And the worst part, the part that horrifies me most, is that there's a sliver of me, buried beneath the shame, that's drawn to this forbidden thrill, this rush of danger and powerlessness that I never wanted to know. The air in the room feels thick, heavy with the scent of their cheap cologne and the musty familiarity of our home, now tainted by this act. Every touch, every brush of their hands feels amplified, like my senses are hyper-aware despite my mind begging to shut it all out. Vince's grip tightens on my waist, pulling me closer in a way that leaves no room for misinterpretation, while Tony's fingers trace lines that make my stomach churn with disgust and something else I refuse to name. It's raw, uncomfortable, a violation of everything I hold dear, and yet it drags on for what feels like an eternity, though I know it's only a few minutes. Each second stretches into forever, branding itself into my memory with cruel precision. The heat of their proximity, the roughness of their touch, the way my own breath hitches in ways I can't control. I'm drowning in the weight of it all, in the knowledge that I've crossed a line I can never come back from, that I've shattered something sacred. The next morning, I wake up on that same worn-out couch in our living room, my body stiff and aching, like I've been carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. The house is eerily quiet, the kind of silence that feels like it's pressing down on me, suffocating in its stillness. There's no hum of life, no clatter of dishes or murmur of the TV, just an empty void where our normalcy used to be. My eyes flutter open, gritty and heavy from a night of restless, broken sleep, and I'm met with the dim gray light seeping through the curtains. It's a new day, but it doesn't feel like a fresh start. It feels like I'm trapped in the aftermath of a storm that's torn through everything I hold dear. My mind is a mess, replaying yesterday's events in agonizing, relentless loops. Every word, every touch, every look of betrayal in Sam's eyes. I can still feel the ghost of unwanted hands on me, the shame burning under my skin like a brand I can't wash off. I sit up slowly, wincing as my back protests the movement, the frayed blanket slipping off my shoulders to pool on the floor. I must have stayed here all night, alone, unable to face the bedroom we've shared for years. The thought of lying next to Sam after what happened feels like a betrayal all over again, even if I was the one who crossed that line. My throat is raw, my voice a scratchy whisper even in my own head, and I rub my hands over my face, trying to push away the fog of exhaustion and guilt. But it clings to me, heavy and unyielding, a reminder of the choice I made to protect us. A choice that might have saved us from losing everything material, but cost us something far more precious. I hear a faint sound from the kitchen, a soft clink of ceramic against the counter, and my heart clenches. Sam must be up. I force myself to stand, my legs shaky beneath me, and I shuffle toward the doorway, each step feeling like I'm wading through quicksand. When I reach the kitchen, I see him there, standing by the window, his broad frame silhouetted against the pale morning light. He's staring out at nothing, his hands braced on the counter, a cold cup of coffee sitting untouched in front of him. He doesn't turn as I enter, doesn't acknowledge me at all, but I can see the tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw is locked tight like he's holding back a storm of his own. I open my mouth to say something, anything to break this unbearable quiet, but the words stick in my throat, choked by the weight of everything unsaid. All I manage is a hoarse, barely audible, "Hey." He doesn't respond, just gives the faintest nod, his eyes still fixed on some distant point beyond the glass. It's like I'm not even here, like I've become a ghost in my own home. The silence between us is suffocating, thicker than the air itself, and it stretches on as we move through the day like shadows of ourselves. I linger in the kitchen for a while, pretending to busy myself with washing dishes, the hot water scalding my hands as I scrub at plates that don't need cleaning. The sound of the faucet is the only noise, a steady rush that fills the void, but doesn't ease the ache in my chest. Sam stays by the window for a long time before eventually drifting to the living room, where I hear the faint click of his laptop as he checks emails or maybe just stares at the screen, lost in his own thoughts. We don't look at each other, don't speak, don't even brush past one another in the narrow hallway. It's as if we've built invisible walls between us overnight, barriers made of pain and betrayal that neither of us knows how to tear down. Every now and then, I catch a glimpse of him out of the corner of my eye, his slumped posture, The way his hands tremble slightly as he grips a mug or flips through a magazine he's not really reading. And each time, the guilt twists deeper, a knife in my gut that I can't pull out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.